Okay, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് presentation കാണുന്നില്ലേ? Somebody, yes, then we'll move. Yes, okay, thank you. So we are moving to third module of classical mechanics, where we will be discussing about the kinematics and dynamics of rigid body. And as you know already, what about a rigid body, you would have already discussed in your first module itself. And rigid body is basically a system of n particles. As you can see here, it is a rigid body is a system of n particles, so that the distance between, once again, somebody trying to join. Okay, rigid body is a system of n particle, so that the distance between any two particle we treat it as fixed. And the importance of utilizing the rigid body is that it won't deform their shape as they move, or as they move with some velocity or the acceleration. We can say that it won't deform their shape as such. Okay, so we treat as the a system of n particle, so the distance of separation between two particles is fixed, so there will be not much deformation as it moves. So that's the main idea of considering any rigid body when we are discussing about uh, the discussion of classical mechanics. And also, why do we discuss about kinematics is that in a kinematics we basically try to understand the motion of a particle or a displacement of a particle without considering the cause of that particular motion. So we won't consider the cause of that particular motion. Instead, we deal with the motion of, or the displacement of that particle, and we used to understand what is the trajectory of that particle. So if you consider any object on the planet, like if the earth or any other thing, so we basically using a kinematic theory, you will be only understanding the how it travels and what is the motion that is moving. And also you want to describe the trajectory of that particle. So that is the main idea of understanding the kinematics of a rigid body. And as I said, rigid body is a system of n particle, and the distance between the two particles is fixed, and we can say that Rij, it is a distance between two element I and j, and the two, it can be 1 2 3, I and j can take the value of 1 2 3 or such. So the distance, the magnitude of Ri minus Rj will be a constant value. That means the distance between these two is fixed. So that is the basic idea of rigid body. So it's an n particle system with a fixed distance of separation. And now we consider a case, we have a rigid body over here. This blue shape actually representing a rigid body, so it can be in any shape. That's why we get a take a arbitrary shape. It can be a circle, it can be a cube. So any shape we consider with an n particle with a distance of separation between two particles fixed, we can treat it as a rigid body. And here you can see there are two axes we have represented here. Here you can see z, x, y, z as the one axis, and we have z dash, y dash, x dash as the another axis. And where rigid body is actually fixed to a axis, that is x dash, y dash and z dash. Okay, so we have a unprimed and primed coordinates. You can see the primed coordinates representing the rigid body. Okay, where we place the our object, particularly for example, if I held a chalk on my hand and I am looking from I, then actual space you can imagine as an observer, the where my eye is representing, where the eye is locating, that point you can say that the z, x, y or x, y, z axis, and where the chalk is held. Now if imagine that you are keeping your a chalk piece on your hand, and you can keep holding that on a imaginary space. the space where you holding the chalk, that you can keep it as x dash, y dash, z dash, and my observer axis, that you can represent it as x, y, z. Similarly, in any cases, now if you imagine that you are looking at some object on uh, anywhere, you can looking at any object. So normally we'll say that the coordinate has been represented relative to some other coordinate. Okay, so if there is an post that you can see on a road, and you are looking just below the post, and actual axis of observer axis is xyz, we can read, and the post is holding on that axis, we can say that it is where x dash, y dash, and z dash. Okay, similarly, in any consideration as an observer, you can treat it as this axis as xyz axis, space axis. So details about that I will share later. Before that, we can say that a rigid body is completely specified by the set of Cartesian coordinates relative to a coordinate axis of the external space. So that is the main point I would like to make at this point. That is, if you want to describe about a rigid body, then you want to have two coordinates. One coordinate that is corresponding to describing the fixed coordinate of a rigid body, and another one which should be set relative to another spatial coordinate, that is xyz, as you can see here. So a rigid body is completely specified by the Cartesian set of coordinates relative to coordinate axis of the external space. Okay, that is basically represented by this image. Okay, there should be at least two coordinates to represent the uh, or represent or specify any rigid body. Here you can see that unprimed axis, that is x, y, z, we can say that these are the external space. Okay, so which is called an external space, and the primed axis, what is that, x dash, y dash, and z dash, which is actually called a rigid body coordinates. And in this case, in this consideration, what we do is that the origin we take that which is common to both coordinates. Okay, so this is very important information. Going forward, this will be actually leading our all discussion. So you want to understand that there will be an external space, there is a rigid body coordinates as well. Okay, now we'll come to the important discussion of this module. The first discussion was about space fixed and body fixed system of coordinates. Okay, so a rigid body can be described by two coordinate system. Basically, it can be described by two coordinate system. One is body coordinate system, another one is space coordinate system. In body coordinate system, a coordinate system is fixed in the rigid body, as you can see here. Okay, it is fixed in the rigid body, and its axis we used to call as body set of axis. Okay, it's very important information, body coordinate system. Another one is that we have a space coordinate system. Okay, in a space coordinate system, the axis of this coordinate system is fixed in the external space, as we have seen xyz, unprimed one. Okay, which is actually representing the space coordinate system, you can see over here. Now what we need to know is much detail about this one is by considering the direction cosine of this one. What is direction cosine of that? Now you look into the figure on the left hand side of this presentation, where you can see that we have represented x, y, z. I didn't take into the consideration of rigid body here. You just imagine that you have a coordinate set that is represented on a red graph with x, y, z coordinate, and there is a blue dotted line representing x dash, y dash z dash coordinate system as well. And I also given that capital X is equal to x1, x dash is equal to x1 dash, and y is equal to x2, and y dash is equal to x2 dash, and z is equal to x3, then z dash is equal to x3 dash, likewise. So this is I represented. In order to represent that, xyz can be represented as the coordinate xyz. Okay, one second. So the coordinate xyz can be represented as x1, x2, x3 for convenience, and also x dash, y dash, z dash I can represent as x1 dash, x2 dash, then x3 dash, x3 dash, likewise. Okay, so we can represent it like this. And now you can see here on x, normally we represent this as I, right? I cap. This is a unit vector representing along x axis is I cap, and this is we represent as j, this is j cap, and this is k cap, sorry, one second, this is k cap, and here you can see that similarly you can represent here that I dash. Okay, this is I dash cap, and this one is j dash cap, and this is our k dash cap, like we can represent here. Okay, because we know that I, j, k are the unit vectors that is representing the each axis x, y, z, or x1, x2, x3, and I1 dash, I dash, k dash, then j dash actually representing the coordinates of x, y, z, like x dash, y dash, and z dash. Don't be confused much. Okay, so what basically we do here is that we need to represent a relation between two coordinates, because we actually want to create a transformation relation. Okay, we need to create a transformation relation or equation for a rotating frame of reference, for a rotating frames of reference. Okay, so here we have two coordinates. One is x dash, y dash, and z dash. Another one is x, y, z. So what is transformation equation basically means? We need to derive a relation between these two coordinates. Okay, primed and unprimed coordinate. For that we need to derive a relation between unprimed and primed coordinate system. For that what we do, that we consider a term that is, you may be familiar, that is direction of cosines. Okay, direction of cosines. For that we'll consider that origin is same for both cases. For both cases the origin is same for both coordinates x dash, y dash, and z dash, and x, y, z both having the same origin. And now we consider the direction cosine between them. Okay, so in the earlier figure itself you can see that here, what is the direction cosine mean? It is the angle between these two axes, right? So if I take I1 dash here, okay, if I take I1 dash here, so I have a relation between I and I dash. What is cosine means? So we take the cosine of the angle between I dash and I. Okay, so basically what we do is that we'll take a relation between I and I dash, and similarly we also have to take a relation between I dash to j as well. Okay, and also we need to take that I dash with respect to k. Okay, there are three different coordinate system we need to consider here. Okay, so for that, so you will be really understand what I am trying to say is that, so we basically want to create three systems. One is C11. Okay, I will just give us name as C11, which is actually a cos of the cosine of the angle between two coordinates, that is I dash and I. Okay, so which is actually will be getting us the value corresponding to that. You can see the value corresponding to that you will be getting as I1 dash, sorry, don't be confused there. Okay, comma I. So this is the angle between I dash and I. Okay, that's how we represent it in the figure. So we need to get a relation of I dash. If you consider I dash, so which has to be related to the another coordinate axis I j k. So the first one will be I dot I, the cosine of between the angle between I dash and I, and second term I represent C1 2, which is basically cos of cos of I dash comma j. So that is we can represent as, it is a unit vector representing like this. It is actually I cap dash j, like we can write, and we have another one C13 and cos I dash k. So it is I dash k. So from this relation, what you understand is that, so if you consider, if you want to relate I dash, it is a coordinate along x1 dash. Okay, so which have to relate to the another coordinate system I j k by using the cosine of angle between these two, I dash I dash j, I dash k. Then you can represent corresponding representation like this. And if you want to write combinedly like this one, because we can either represent this as I1 dash or something, so which will be getting a relation as I, one sec, okay, I1 dash dot I. Then if you simply represent it with the I cap plus I1 dash j cap plus I1 dash dot k cap, like this. And what is basically I dash, which we can say that this is C1 I cap plus C12 j cap plus C13 k cap, like this you can return like this. Okay, so these are called direction cosine of x dash axis. Okay, this is the direction cosines of x dash axis. Okay, and similarly you can do c1 c21. C21 will be, as you understood, cosine of j dash comma I. Okay, that is j dash comma I cap. Okay, sometimes I will forget to keep I cap. So, and cosine of j cap comma j, sorry, j dash, and which will be getting us j dash comma j, and like C23 will be cos of j dash comma, so that is comma k. Okay, likewise you will get, and now if you write this is in a single form, then you will be getting as C21 I cap plus C22 k plus C23 k cap likewise. Okay, why do we represent this one? We need to understand. For that, already we said that I comma j comma k are the unit vectors along xyz, axis, and also we know that I dash comma j dash comma k dash are the unit vector along x dash y dash and z dash axis. That thing already clear about for that. And similarly here you can also get C31, C32, C33 as cos k dash comma I cap, which is equal to k dash comma I. Then we have cosine of k dash comma j, which is equal to uh, k dash comma j likewise. Okay, this is a simple thing only, but you have to understand it properly. How do we derive the equation corresponding to this one? Sorry, this is k, that is k dash k will coming to act. Okay, so this also you can represent as in general k dash is equal to C31 I cap C32 j cap plus C33 k cap. Likewise you can represent this equation as well. Okay, so what we basically we get is that we get a 9 direction of cosine C11, C12, C13 and C21, C22, C23 and C31, C32, C33. So which is actually representing 9 direction cosines, as you can see here. Okay, 9 direction cosines. Okay, so in total we'll get 9 direction cosines actually can be related in order to relate between a two coordinate axis xyz and x dash y dash z dash axis, coordinate axis. Okay, so we basically we get 9 direction of cosines, and we have 6 unit vectors corresponding to this one ijk, I dash j dash k as a 6 unit vector representing the each axis corresponding to that. Because these are the basics of understanding the kinematics of uh, rigid body. Direction cosines are a lot of importance. So what is the importance? So I'll coming to that. So what we have taken here is that simply we have taken the angle between I dash, j dash and k dash with respect to I, j, k. So we have just taken the cosine of the angle between different primed coordinate to the unprimed coordinate is basically we have done here. And as we have seen, firstly we have taken the direction cosine of x dash axis. Okay, direction cosine corresponding to x dash axis. And secondly we have done for y dash axis, and thirdly we have done for z dash axis, direction cosines corresponding to uh, x dash axis, y dash axis and z dash axis can be seen here. And how do we utilize this direction of cosine? That is more important for us, because you want to understand what is each cosines has been represented. So this direction cosines these direction cosines can be used to express the unit vector in the primed system. Okay, so this can be used, the direction cosines can be used to express the unit vector in the primed system. That I already said, primed system in terms of unit vectors of unprimed, okay, unprimed system. Okay, so we have utilized cosine, direction of cosines, in order to represent the unit vectors in the primed system in terms of the unit of un unprimed system. So we already said what is primed system and unprimed system. Primed means x dash y dash and z dash. Unprimed means x y z, or rather I j k. You can see over like that as well. So that is the main idea of utilizing the direction of cosines. So this is one of the important aspect when you rotating a frame of reference. Now we rotate an angle. What we actually change? Changing the theta between this one. So basically this I cosine of I comma I1 means that it is the angle between I1 dash and I. So this is actually a theta. So when you rotate any rigid body in a frame of reference, basically the angle change. So corresponding to a change in angle, we have direction of cosine. For cosine, we are taking the cosine of the angle between two coordinate system. Okay, so that is basically we do here in this case. And already what we have written is that I1 dash can be written as C11. We have seen C11 and C12 and C13, and now we need to know few basically things that what is C11 means. That is cos theta 11. Okay, so that is the angle between I1 dash and I. Then we have cos theta 12. This is the angle between I1 dash and J. Okay, then we have cos theta 13. This is the angle between I1 dash and K, and you can represent as like this. And similarly you can also write it as J1 dash can be represented as cos theta 21 I cap, cos theta 22 J cap, and cos theta 23 K cap, and K dash can be represented as cos theta 31 I cap plus cos theta 32 J cap plus cos theta 32 K cap. Sorry, 333. Okay. Now, if we consider R be the position vector of a point with the coordinate x, y, z, x dash, y dash in the two system. Okay. Let you. Okay. Now we consider that let R be the position position vector of a point with coordinate x, y, z and x dash, y, z in two system. Okay. It is a position vector of a point with the coordinate system x, y, z and x dash, y dash and z dash in two system. So we'll have a relation between these two coordinate system. Okay, so if you, what is R means, basically it is a projection. Actually uh, you can write a projection from here, like you can have a x, y, z axis. Okay, so this is our y x z axis, and this is our primed axis, x dash, y dash, and z dash. And if you write a projection, it is actually representing two coordinate system. Okay, so likewise you can connect two system by giving a projection over there. And now if you consider that in all cases, if you have a new coordinate system, or if you have g is some vectors, okay, if g is some vector, then the component, then we have, if you have a component g along an axis, okay, g along the x dash axis will be related by, how do we relate that g component to the xyz axis? By like this, that is, if you have a g is a sum vector, consider that g is a sum vector, then the component of g along x dash axis, if you want to relate to xyz component, by g x dash is equal to g of I dash, so which is equal to, as we already know, I dash is actually cos theta 11 gx plus cos theta 12 gy plus cos theta 13 gz. And this way you can actually relate the component along x dash axis. It is g dot I dash, which is cos theta 11 gx plus cos theta 12 gy plus cos theta 13 gz. Likewise you can actually relate this coordinate to one and each other. Okay, so this is how normally we do relate any vectors by utilizing this direction of cosine method. Okay, so what we have so far done is that we have considered two coordinate axes, primed and unprimed coordinate axis. Then we identified a relation between these two. Okay, and that is a, when you rotate the frame of reference, we'll have a direction of cosines corresponding to each axis, I1 dash, I2 j dash, and k dash. And we also represent, if you have some vectors, and that some vectors having a component along x dash, and how do we relate that to the xyz axis, that is also we have seen in this case. Okay, this is how it works for the case of a vectors. And normally direction cosines, we say that direction cosines, the purpose of a direction cosines as the, so what it means basically, direction cosines is, okay, so in direction cosines normally we consider as a coordinate. Okay, we consider as a coordinate, which is a coordinate, cosines are considered as a coordinate describing the instantaneous, that is more important, the instantaneous orientation of a of the body relative to any other coordinate system, relative to a coordinate system which is fixed. Okay, And the another important aspect is, but with the origin will be in common with the body system. So what it means is that, so normally direction cosines we utilize in order to describe the instantaneous, okay, an instantaneous orientation of a particular body relative to a coordinate system fixed. So if a observer in the earth, then you want to see the trajectory of any planet or a moon or something else. So we held the coordinate system in the space as fixed, then we'll see the trajectory of that particular particle or an object. Okay, and one thing is important is that were the origin for the coordinate system, and the for the external space and the body system, the origin of the coordinate will treat it as common. Then we'll describe the instantaneous of the orientation of the body. That for that case we normally utilize this direction of cosines method. Okay, it is a as a considered as a coordinate describing the instantaneous orientation of the body relative to a coordinate system fixed in space, but with the origin in common with the body system. Okay, so that's how coordinate direction of cosine will work. So also now we need to understand certain property of this direction of cosines are related to one each other, and we already know that there are few relations that you already know. I dot j will be equal to j dot k will be equal to k dot I. This will be 0 because the angle between these two are perpendicular to each other, right? So cosine of this angle between will be actually getting the 0 value corresponding to that, whereas I dot I will be equal to k dot k will be equal to j dot j will be equal to 1, because they are in line with each other, or are they in parallel to each other, or rather we can say. So that's why, one second, ചെറിയൊരു break. ബാങ്കിന്റെ നടക്കുന്നതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ചെറിയ ബ്രേക്ക് എടുത്തത്. സൗണ്ട് ചിലപ്പം കുറച്ച് കൂടുതലായിരിക്കാമല്ലോ. Okay. Okay, similarly നമ്മൾ I dot j dash j dot k dot I will be 0, I dot I equal to k dot k equal to j dot j equal to 1, as we have seen. And similarly we also can keep the similar relation. Okay, with the similar relation we can say that for a case of I comma j or I dash j, so we'll have a similar relation as well. I dash for j dash and k dash, we can find the same relation, that is I dash dot j dash will be equal to 0, that is cos theta 1 1 cos theta 2 1 plus plus cos theta 1 2 cos theta 2 2, that is 0, right? Cos theta 1 3, cos theta 2 3. Okay, so we can also say that I1 dash dot j dash also will be 0, and similarly we can say that j dash k will be 0. Okay, and k dash I dash will be also 0, and also we can say that I dash dot I will be 1, and j dash dot j, sorry, then we also have, what is that, k dash dot k will be also coming to 1. Okay, so we'll hold the same relation for both the primed coordinates and unprimed coordinates. We can keep the same relation in that case. And also, now if you understand like this, I dash dot I dash, what is that, which is equal to 1, what it means, that is cos square theta 1 1 plus cos square theta 1 2 plus cos square theta 1 3. Okay, so I dash dot I dash will be equal to 1, that is cos square theta 1 1 plus cos square theta 1 2 plus cos square theta 1 3 will be equal to 1. And similarly, as I said, j dash dot j dash and k dash dot k also will be giving the same kind of value for here. And now you can see that there are, as I said, there is a 9 direction cosines we already seen. Okay, 9 direction cosines, and also you can find 6 relation, as you can see here, I dot j equal to 0, j dash k dash equal to 0, k dot I dash is equal to 0, and there is a 6 relations also you can find it like this. And also one point also I would like to make is that if you take I dot I dash, which is similar like I1 dot I, okay, this is like C11 itself, and like similarly if you take I dot j dash and j dot I, both are same like C12 as well. Okay, both are same value only, you'll be getting the same kind of coordinate corresponding to that. And similarly, as I said, for k4 as well, so these are same for k dot I, so this is C13, and C12 will be same for that case as well. So these are the few relation that you can see for this case. Okay, so you can see that there are at least 3 independent functions for a direction cosines you can see here. So we basically discussed about direction cosines today. And now if you want to make a general statement of what all things we have done today, so we will make a general statement that, so there is a, we can write this entire form of representation as L equal to 1, L equal to 1 2 3 cos theta L m dash, cos theta L m will be equal to 0 when m is equal to m dash. Okay, or rather we can say that L equal to 1 to 3 cos square theta Lm will be equal to 1, where, sorry, this is not equal to m1, where m is equal to m dash. Okay, further if you write this function, we can write this function as summation of L equal to 1 to 3 cos theta Lm dash, cos theta Lm will be equal to delta m dash m. Okay, this function you may be knowing, this function is actually called Kronecker delta function. Kronecker delta function. In Kronecker delta function, as you already know, when both the values are same, then the resultant value will be equal. You can see here, we can see the case delta m dash m which is equal to 1 when if m dash equal to m, and this will be equal to 0 if m dash not equal to m. Okay, so this function we basically call as Kronecker delta function. You may be already know of Dirac delta function, and similarly we also having a function which is called Kronecker delta function. Okay, Kronecker delta function you can see over here. So what we have discussed basically is that we try to identify what is rigid body is, and for in order to represent uh, in order to specify a rigid body, we at least need two coordinates. One is body fixed coordinate, that is the coordinate of the rigid body, and we need to have an external space coordinate which is called space coordinate system. So in order to describe a property or the position of a rigid body, we need two systems, a body fixed and a space fixed coordinate system. And also we can relate these two coordinate system while the body is rotating. We can, by using direction of cosines, we can relate this one each other. Okay, with the 9 direction cosines we already have seen. Okay, then further, in a general statement we can say that m dash is equal to m. In that case we'll have the coordinate system will be can be related to like this. Okay, so that's how we have done here. So what it means is that cos theta 1 lm, because we know what is cos lm means. I'll just describe what is cos lm. Cos lm means what, where we already having cos L1 plus cos L2 plus cos L3. What is that? Earlier we have represented one, right? What is that? Sorry, cos theta Lm, right? Sorry, one second. Cos theta Lm. Okay, cos theta Lm means cos theta L1 plus cos theta L2 plus cos theta L3. Earlier we represented for a case of I dash. How do we represent it? Cos theta 1 2 cos theta, sorry, theta 1 1. This one is theta 1 1 and theta 1 2 plus cos theta 1 3. Okay, so a generalized representation of the same has been represented here in cos theta Lm. That is why we have given a summation of three coordinate independent functions 1 2 3. So you can give the values of L as 1 2 3, and if the m is equal to m dash, then we can say that that is equal to 1. This function will be equal to 1, and otherwise if m dash not equal to m, and this will go to 0. So as I said, the direction of cosine basically used to describe the relation between two different Cartesian system. Okay, which can be used for two different Cartesian system. So the main idea of the direction cosine is that to describe the relation, I already said the same, describe the relation between two different Cartesian system which can be used for many applications. Okay, which can be useful for many applications as well. Okay, so like as I said, as an observer from the earth, then if you want to describe the a property of the a material or an object over here, now if you see here, simply this is a person over here, okay, and he is seeing some object at distance, and now you can plot a coordinate system over here, and this also having a coordinate system corresponding to that. On his view, how do we represent the rigid body coordinate? Okay, if this coordinate is rotating, as we know that moon and earth is actually rotating with respect to any other frame of reference, how do we describe the orientation of the particular object if it is rotating? So for that purpose we can use the direction of cosines method. That's the main purpose of this one. So with that, today's session I'll just wind up, and next we'll be discussing about Euler's angle, and which will give more insight about the rotating frame of reference. How do we describe different angle corresponding to the rotational frame of reference, and how do we relate that to rigid body mechanism? That is will be our next class of discussion. So we have completed two sections of the first module, third module, that is space and body coordinated system, and later on we have discussed about the direction of cosines, and now we need to move on to Euler's angle. Hope that we will be discussing next class. Okay, so just go through this discussion in Goldstein, or rather you can see any web sources for details about this system.